So in today's lesson, what I'm going to do is show you how to create a form within your database, okay? How to add records, delete records from using the form within your database, and how to print a single form or more than one form within your database. So let me share my content here. First thing we need to do is open our database. So remember, I can go back to my Start button here, and using Access, I can find the most recent databases that I've worked on, in this case, Employee Practice 2, or equally, I can go here to my folder menu, and again, Employee Practice 2 comes up. I'm already sitting in the area of Saved Documents, okay? Right, but in this case, I'll just open from here, Employee Practice 2. So here we go, okay? And remember, we have a table of information about our employees. So if I double click, I open the table. The table of information is, a table is just a holder, a tool for holding all the data within my database, okay? So remember, each row here is a record relating to a single person or single product, something along that line. Each column is a field of information. So this column is all different departments. This column is the dates of birth for each individual record, okay? So the reason that we would have a form within a database would be to help you insert information. If for any reason we had lots of information, lots of different records going across here, okay, more than we've got at the moment, or these were taking up far too much space, if they were large ones, we wouldn't necessarily see all the information. Oh, bear with me a moment. Okay, we wouldn't necessarily see all the information relating to one record. So if we were in Heather's, we can't see Heather's employee number over here. We would either need to tab across, or we would need to use our scroll bar at the bottom to go across and find out Heather's employee number. If I come here so that I can see the employee number, I can't see who it belongs to, Heather. So by creating forms, this means that we have all the information relating to one record available on screen at once, and it saves you having to scroll back and forth like this. It also means if you are the person designing a database within an office, you can lock down the back end of the database, which is this information here. You can lock this down so that other users can't get in and make changes to it. They can only use the form to insert records, delete records, sort records, print, that type of thing. So let me sort the layout of this back to normal, first of all. Okay. Here we go. I'm just sorting this at the moment. You don't need to do this. I was just merely demonstrating how we can have records of information which go along more than one screen. Okay. So what do I want to do? I want to create a form. So I make sure I'm setting on the table that I want to create the form within. You can create a form from a table, from a query, but at the moment we only have one table of information, and that is what I will be creating my form in. So I make sure I'm in here and I go to create. There's different ways to create forms. At the moment, there's form here, which you would design from scratch, form design. But the easiest way is Form Wizard. So if I click on Form Wizard, it comes up and it's asking me which table or query I want to base the form on. And yes, I only have one at the moment. If I had more than one table, then I could choose which table or which query to base my form on. If I had more than one table and they were linked, I could create a query based on the linkages that I want and then create a form in that. But that's getting quite in depth. At the moment, we're just doing basic databases. Okay. So available fields, which fields do I want in my form? I could put these over one at a time if there's only just one or two that I wanted. But if I want them all, which I do, okay, click here and they all come across. Okay, so they all come across. If I decide then at a later date I don't want one, highlight one I don't want, put it back to over here. Okay, but I do want all my fields available in my form. So I'm going to click this all button here and here to come across. So next, do I want my form laid out in columns, tabs, data sheets? Tabs and data sheets are very similar. And they both appear very like this data sheet here, this table of information here. So not much point in having our form laid out like that, really. It's not going to make our life any easier. Column is the best option. Justified just means that everything's justified to the right-hand side, but it may mean that you have a date of birth in here, which then has lots and lots of blank space to the right of it. So at the moment, I'm going to choose column. Press next. It's now given me the information of what I want to call my form, and normally this comes up automatically with the same name as the query or table from which you have based the form on. So as you can see, our table over here is employee 1, and it's saying, what do you want your form name to be, employee 1? I do, but just to differentiate, I'm going to call it form. Okay, form, here we go. So do I want to open this form to view or enter information or modify it? At the moment, I'll open it, so I'll press finished. And here we go. This is our form. Okay, this is our form. I'll click in the form here, make sure that I can use it. And you can see this is our entire record for Heather. Okay, so the one that I previously had to scroll back and forth on the screen to see, this is Heather's entire record. Heather Buchanan, works in accounts, date of birth, start date, hourly pay grade, and employee number. If I want to go to the next record, I can navigate using the next record button down here, the right-hand arrow key, and the one after that. If I want to go back, I press the back button, okay? If I want to go to the very end record in my database, I use this one here, the one I get with the right-hand arrow with the straight line. It's hitting a wall, so it's coming up to the last record, if you like, so I can press that. And here we go, I've got Jane Stevenson in accounts as the very last record. If I want to go back to the first one, equally, left-hand record, left-hand arrow against the wall, if you like. So that's first record, last record. If I want to create a brand new record, it's this little button down here, the one that says new blank record, right-hand arrow with a little sun or settings screen next to it. So again, if I print a new record, I can go in here and put my information in now. So let's see, Robertson, Jamie, what department, personnel, date of birth. A calendar comes up automatically for me to choose Jamie's date of birth, but if it's more than 1 or 2 years ago, it's going to get quite a nightmare scrolling back. So I'm just going to manually type this in. Okay, so 05021998. Remember, this is the format: 2 digits, 2 digits, 4 digits. Okay. Then it's going to ask me for Jamie's start date. Let's make Jamie quite new, so we'll make Jamie starting on the 7th of September. Okay, hourly pay grade 1. An employee number, let's give Jamie an employee number, and TP, capitals, TP 456. Okay, there we go. Up here, we'll see save and refresh all. So I want to save this. Save. There we go. We've saved our record now. Okay. And if I press refresh all, it takes us back to the beginning. But not only that, if I go from my form back to my table and then press refresh all, you'll see we've now added in Jamie Robertson as well. And it's put in alphabetical order for me because remember previously I told this to sort on ascending alphabetical order. Okay. So Jamie Robertson has now been added in. If I want to delete a record from using the forms, just make sure that I double click on forms, okay? And then I could just scroll until I find the record that I want. Or equally, you can type in the number of the record that you want. So if I know that it's record 7, for instance, here we go, Jamie Robertson, I could come in here. In order to delete this record, come to the delete button, press delete record. Okay, so press delete record. It's saying I'm going to delete this record. Do I really want to do this? It's asking me, am I really, really sure? Because once I delete, then there's no undo. But yes, I do. Let's take, in fact, no, it's this one I want to delete, Jamie Robertson. Okay, so Jamie, delete record. Click yes, but it's jumped back to Scott Ross. Okay. So it is Jamie that I want to delete. Delete record. That's it. press yes. Okay, the reason it was jumping back to Scott Ross was because Jamie's record was number 8. So just make sure that you completely understand that. It was jumping back to the previous record, okay? Refresh all and go into the table, double check. Okay, we can see it says here deleted, so that's Jamie. But if I press refresh all, we can see again it's taken out that deleted information. So the table automatically updates as you make changes in form. But what you must do is press the refresh all and make sure you press save when you make the changes, okay? So it's really important that you do that. The next thing that you're going to need to do is to print a form. So from here, we're sitting in the form. What we'll do is go to File menu and Print. File and Print. We can go to Print Preview, see what it's going to look like. And we can see there's several forms here. One form for Heather Buchanan, one form for John Campbell, one form for the next person and such like. That's not what we want to do. We want to print just one form or two forms only. So close that print view. What I do then is go File, Print, and I want to select a printer, number of copies, and other printing options. So if I go in here, here we go. Do I want selected records only? Yes, I do. So I'm going to press selected record. Okay, so this is my selected record only. I don't have access to printer at the moment, so I will need to go here. And then I could just tell it to print. Okay, so I could tell it to print, and it should just print the record for Heather Buchanan. However, if I wanted just to print another record, say Rafet Hussein's, then again, File, Print, Print, and when the options come up, selected records. Okay, so just the selected record. Now I'll tell mine, print PDF. Okay, and here we go. So that is form Rafet Hussein record. Okay, and save. There we go. I've now printed that, and I should be able to see that. Print. Here we go, and we can see that it's just the one record that's printed here. It hasn't printed the rest of the records, so that's how to do just one record. Let me come back. Okay, if you wanted to print more than one record, then what you would do is File, Print, tell it which pages, so maybe from pages, whichever. You could either tell it all records, but be very, very careful doing that, especially if you've got 376 forms or records within your database, or just the selected records. Okay, so it might be that you want to update somebody's file, print out a new paper copy, press selected records. That's how to do that, just the selected records, and you can go to whichever record you want. And what else do I need to show you today? I think that's it. In order to make changes to the form, you can go back in Design View. This is your view up here. Okay, so at the moment we're in Form View for entering and deleting information. Layout View is exactly the same, but you're allowed to make changes here. Okay, you would never really use Layout View very much. The two views you would use are Form View for entering information, deleting information, or Design View. And we can see here Design View. The moment I've got a header up here, it comes in automatically. The header is based on what this form is called, so it's Employee 1 form. Okay. If I want to do a footer as well, then I can come down here, click on this area so it turns black, then come to the sidebar, and using the crossbar, pull down an area to give you some room, okay, to give you space for this. Excuse me. Okay. Back in here, my sharing screen's come up again. We can right click and we can do page header footer, form header footer, or when this disappears, I can come back up. In design, okay, I've clicked design up here, design. What I could do is add a date and time if I want, date, time, include date, include time. No, I don't want to include the time. I'm just going to include the date. And here we go. There's a formula for date, so it's always on the current date, which has put itself in the header up here. If I want to put an area down here with my name on it, which is always good practice, particularly when you're a student, click on the text box here, text box, come down, using your left mouse button, hold it down, put it in there, and let's type my name in here. McLennan. So it's good practice for you to do that, okay? Then I come out of design view, back into form view, and you can see I now have the current date on my header area where I insert it, and my name is down as the footer. So if I went to print this form now, it would come out just like that. And it's really good practice for you to do that, guys. Okay, so make sure you include your name. You don't need to include the date, but make sure you include the name. Okay, so again, just very quickly, how did I do that? I went into, first of all, I'll make sure I'm sitting in my form, so it looks like this. Double click in here, play form. View, we want to go into design view, and that's looking at the design of the form, and all these boxes show you the different areas. We can amend sizes of these boxes as well, just by clicking on them and dragging them, doing different things. So you can play about with that in here as well. At the moment, it looks absolutely fine, so I have no issue with it. But in order to create the text box down here, what I did was I opened up the footer area. So I clicked here until this area went black. I expanded using this, okay, pulled it down so there was room for me to insert a footer. And then this is the text box, okay, so text box, and then come down here and using your left mouse button, draw where you want the text box. So down here, what can we call this? Practice database video. Okay, there we go. I come out of there, out of design view, back into form view, and we can see we now have a footer down here, saying practice database video as well. So that's how to put the footers in, and it's really good practice for you to put your name in as well. Okay, so I think that's all I need to do to show you, to demonstrate today. So that has been how to create a form within a database, how to add records using a form within a database, delete records using a form within a database, and how to print single or several records within a database. Okay, thank you.